506 extension 1 or visit us online at hawkeyebrokerage.com.
Securities and investment advisory services offered solely through Americas Investment Corporation, AIC. Member FINRA, SIPC. Merle Miller and AIC do not provide tax or legal advice. Please consult your tax advisor or attorney regarding your situation.
Back to school. 3 words dreaded by school kids everywhere. But as a parent, you want your child to ride in a safe and secure vehicle to and from school every day. Walden Repair and Collision Center in Fairfax knows accidents happen and is your one-stop shop for all your collision needs. If an accident does happen to you or your child's vehicle, Walden Collision works with all insurance carriers and provides a lifetime warranty on all repairs. Online at waldenrepair.com or give them a call at 846-3434. Walden Repair also reminds you not to text and drive. And please keep your eyes on the road at all times. Quality is their priority, and Walden Repair wishes everyone a safe and successful school year. Start your day off right the breakfast way at Salt Fork Kitchen in Solon. Buttermilk flapjacks, French toast, or try an omelet featuring the Solon starter or the carnivore. Curb your lunch and dinner appetite with lamb and feta tacos, grilled veggie tacos, the bacon cheddar melt, a BLT, or the 100% Solon beef burger. Salt Fork Kitchen foods are made from scratch. They raise their own eggs and grow their vegetables on the farm. And it's a locally owned restaurant providing exceptional in-season foods. Find them on Facebook for full menu options and ever-changing daily and nightly specials. Salt Fork Kitchen on Main Street in Solon. Quality first at a fair price. Thank you for calling TS Iowa. TS Iowa is a provider of Panasonic digital and voice-over IP telephone systems, network infrastructure, including voice, data, and fiber optic cabling, paging systems, and a complete line of surveillance systems. Call TS Iowa at 319-333-7714. That's 333-7714. Or visit TS Iowa on the web at www.tsiowa.net. Hawkeye fans, the Black and Gold Shop is your game day headquarters throughout Iowa. With locations in Iowa City, Coralville, Davenport, and the Jordan Creek Village in West Des Moines, the Black and Gold Shop features custom-made Hawkeye football jerseys and the largest selection of Hawkeye gear from Nike, Under Armour, and Adidas for men, women, and children. You can find a full range of tailgate gear and accessories online at theblackandgoldshop.com and on Facebook. The Black and Gold Shop, the official retailer of the Iowa Hawkeyes.
You've heard the phrase free checking before and found out it wasn't exactly free, right? Well, at Two Rivers Bank and Trust, free checking means just that, free checking. There's no minimum balance and no monthly service charge. At Two Rivers Bank, every new personal checking account includes a free debit card, mobile banking with mobile deposit, and much more, even a free thank you gift. Plus, they will buy back unused checks and debit cards up to $10 and refund ATM fees from other financial institutions up to $15 per month. At Two Rivers Bank, free checking means just that, free checking. $50 minimum deposit to open. Visit Two Rivers Bank and Trust in Iowa City or Coralville and now at tworivers.bank to sign up for your truly free personal checking. My neighborhood, my bank, member FDIC.
From the Harty and Stalker Studios in the heart of the Hawkeye Nation, this is the mighty 1630 KCJJ, Iowa City.
Meteorologist Mace Michaels. A heat advisory continues through your Tuesday. A mix of sunshine and clouds for today. A high in the low 90s. Heat index around 100. A little breezy at times with wind gusts to near 30 miles an hour. An isolated storm chance. Isolated storms possible tonight. Again warm with lows in the mid-70s. And a pretty good shot for storms Tuesday. Some of those storms could be strong with heavy rain. Mid-80s for a high. Cooler and less humid Wednesday. That's KCJJ weather. Currently at 74 degrees.
Weather brought to you by the Westport Touchless Auto Washes at Walmart in Iowa City and Coralville's Hy-Vee. AllHawkeyes.com brought to you by Big Dog TV and Internet. Serving all of eastern Iowa with Dish, DirecTV, Internet, and more. Don't call an 800 number. Call local. Call Big Dog at 338-6600. Zephyr Printing and Design and Printed Ink on the Penmall. The Ox Yoke Inn, Supple's Flowers, the home of 1-800-800-ROSE. Sittler's LED Supplies. Supple's Siding and Remodeling, GT Carr and his crew. Mike's Lock and E-Keys for cars. Steve Anderson, Hawkeye Title and Settlement. And Premier Automotive in North Liberty. Hit a deer, call Premier. I got to say something. Sittler's LED Supplies. They gave me those LEDs that we've got outside over our front door.
Yeah.
And those things have been going now. Remember how we used to put the flood lamps in and they'd be gone in like 3 months?
Yeah, or 2.
Yeah. These things have been going 8 years.
Yeah, LED is the way to go.
Yeah, 8 years they've been going, and they're full brightness. I'm amazed by that. I'm just amazed.
Why don't you get them to fix your potholes?
Huh?
Can they
because
fix potholes?
It's LED supplies. They don't do. It's not POT supplies.
Okay.
There's plenty of places you can get POT supplies.
I just hit one coming in, and my car's still rattling. I hit the deep one.
Well, we had it graded. We put, I don't know.
And there's one, I think it's on the verge of becoming a sinkhole.
Why did they get so bad so
quickly? I don't know.
That is weird because
we probably should get another truckload.
I guess. But then we got to get it smoothed out. I mean, it's going to do nothing to put rocks over.
They did something to the road out there. It's a different color now, the road out there.
They did a chip seal.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it'll turn dark.
Okay.
But, we'd have to get it graded again.
Then you think you're through it, and then you got the one right when you turn in. There's that one catching you if you're not right. And I hit that one. Did not have a good day today with the. I usually do all right with the sinkholes. I know where they are. I dodge around them, but today I hit that one right in the middle, and it just the car just rattled.
Yeah, I don't know why they got bad quickly,
I think
but they did.
I think he and AJ have some type of deal because now my car, I'll probably be taking it out to AJ to get it serviced here.
Yeah, AJ will say, "Yeah, I heard you talking. Why don't you come here? You're going to need a front end alignment, Pat."
I drive by here about 10 at night. AJ's out there with a shovel. You and AJ are digging holes.
Well, I don't understand why I haven't seen that much farm. You know, we haven't had a lot of rain.
Could it be because there went a long stretch with no rain, and then we've had a ton of rain?
I don't know.
I don't know.
God, though, because I looked out my grass.
Because it usually lasts a full year.
I know.
And actually, you guys did just do this back in May or April.
Yeah, end of May.
Yeah, that's right. Because I remember.
So it lasted about 2 months, and then the month of August it just went to S.
Yeah, if you want to get it graded again.
But
because
so I have to talk to Corey.
Well, yeah, it'd do no good putting gravel over holes.
I mean, is there somebody else we should call? Or?
How much would it cost to put? You know how they put the black asphalt in holes on the street to plug the ones you have now? But it seems like your potholes aren't the same places reoccurring.
No.
They're all over the place.
No, it's a dirt road.
Well, I know, but it's just they just. If there was one or two specific areas, but it just
depends on how you grade it.
No.
I mean, if it depends on how you grade it.
Be nice to have it chip sealed.
Yeah, that would be nice.
What do you suppose that cost? $10,000?
Oh, more.
It'd be nice to have cement, just regular cement.
Yeah. Well, first of all, you're not allowed to.
Why?
Because the county won't allow it. The county won't allow us to.
Well, plus, it's not your driveway.
First of all, it isn't our driveway.
Yeah, that's true. What are we even talking about? You guys have no say over anything.
Yeah, but the county wouldn't allow them to do that.
Why not? Why can't you have? I don't get it. If you're willing to pay for it, what is the county? I don't. Is that
well? We're not willing to pay.
But no, if somebody was willing to pay, no, we don't want.
No, they won't allow it. I don't know why.
Are you sure? Or?
Positive.
Okay, I don't.
Positive because I was joking about it once on the air, and I was joking about it, and I got a call from 2 people separately. You're not allowed to cement that.
So you're saying that's enough for you to believe it?
Yeah. Well, they were from the county.
Oh, well, okay. I still would have to see that in writing to
and
believe
then,
it.
Well, see, we used to get this taken care of, and then Nugel got elected, and he didn't want it to show any favoritism. Remember when Steve Lucina would take care of that?
Uh-huh.
Yeah. And then Nugel got elected. Well, I don't want to think people are,
But there's more development out here now. Eventually, that's getting to be a more traveled road now. I mean, you see a lot more cars take it now. Eventually, if I mean, it's expanding a little bit.
Yeah,
I mean,
eventually they'll take they'll take this and make it city, and then quadruple our taxes.
Well, if they take this, there will be houses and condos up here so fast it'll make your head spin.
Hopefully, I'll either be retired then or gone to my reward.
I'm actually surprised that it hasn't spread more. I mean,
it's 100 feet.
It's all northwest. I mean, since I've moved to Iowa City 20-some years ago, it just seems like all the expansion has been north and west, not much east. But we're starting to see some more stuff over on Scott Boulevard and stuff to where, Tom, you live a little north of me, but we live there's still not hardly any restaurants or anything on our part of town.
There's not enough.
I was driving today, and now that the BP thing on the corner of Muscatine by the Hy-Vee there is shut down because they're built. From my house to here, I go by one gas station, the Deli Mart. And I had to get gas today. I went by that's the only gas station. But we're starting to get a lot more expansion over here. There's tons of houses and stuff that are going up, but there's nothing going with it.
Well, yeah, there's not enough. That's for sure.
I keep wishing a business would take a chance and do something on the east side.
Well,
there's a few. You got Blackstone, you got Shorts. What else? You got
Two Dogs.
Two Dogs.
Shakespeare's. Lucky's.
Shakespeare's has been here forever, and it's on First Avenue. I'm talking more out by Scott Boulevard and whatever. There's just
Midtown out on Scott Boulevard.
Yeah, Midtown's one. Yeah,
but there isn't much.
But we just named off 5.
Yeah.
I mean, in Coralville, you could go down a block and name 7. I mean, it is though. That's the one. I love living on the east side, but there's just not many places to go eat. Oh, you've got, of course, you've got the Eastdale. We don't call that anymore. River. What do you call it now?
Iowa City Marketplace.
Iowa City Marketplace, and then the stuff there, and then Yohama.
Yeah, you got Panera, Oyama, avocado.
So yeah, there's some, but just not.
Pizza Ranch for now.
But there's just still not a lot. I mean,
no,
there isn't. There's just not a lot. And
Jimmy Jack's,
Hamburg Inn opening up, that was nice. I mean, that was a really. I go there probably at least twice a month. Which is
on the north side, you got a few things. You got El Bandito's.
Hilltop.
You got Hilltop. You got.
No, El Bandito's. I consider El Bandito's. That's downtown.
Yeah.
I consider that downtown. But
yeah.
All right. Well, opening week of Hawk football. Let's go. I mean, let's just dive into it.
I had to get rid of the Russian in the jet.
Russian bot.
Yeah, they're going to destroy the United States.
Yeah. Well, they would like
to.
They would like to. I mean, that's.
It's harder with you have to report each line, and then I gave him a 300-minute timeout.
Do you think he's just waiting, just sitting there with his...
timing it. He'll come on during the last hour of Lexington.
Just Captain Stevie stuff.
Have we even done our introduction yet?
Yeah.
Oh, you already did?
Yeah.
Did it while you were coming in.
Oh,
yeah.
Oh, that's right. That's right. I was walking in when I heard you doing it. So, we'll have Don Patterson on starting next Monday at this time to look back at what we all hope, and I still somewhat confidently think will be a victory, but I picked them to win 23-17, so it's not like I think this is going to be a cakewalk.
I think it's going to be a dogfight.
And I think it would be a close game even with the 2 tackles, but you take them out and take Brady Reef out and Lattimore, and I think that makes this game far more competitive. So we'll see. It's going to be interesting to see this Sutton Smith's getting a lot of publicity. I just read a big story about how he just is constantly on the attack. He's a ball hawk, 29.5 tackles for loss, can't be blocked.
Yes, he can, and yes, he will.
And so, but you take that combination with Nate Stanley's lack of mobility, and there could be
some sacks.
There could be some sacks, and there could be some issues now.
And I'll say that he'll probably get a couple sacks, but I don't think he'll run crazy over us.
Well, he better not. Like I said, I'm going to write this today. I'm going to try to write a column on why Iowa should never lose this game without having it be bulletin board material for Illinois State, Northern Illinois, because Iowa should win this game under any circumstance. And when you don't win this game, that usually means you're going to not be very good. Because I just did a thing. I put it out last night and then retweeted it today, just a smorgasbord of Iowa football. I just sat down and started doing all this different. I've got my conference predictions for this year, my player of the year, defensive player of the year, coach of the year, I've got 10 most indispensable players for Iowa for this year. Ferentz's 5, his most impressive wins, his biggest wins, and then his 5 disappointing losses. I've got my top 3 high. It's just got a bunch of different hodgepodge stuff on Iowa football, and because there's a difference between 5 most impressive wins and 5 biggest wins. I mean, Ferentz's most impressive win was Ohio State last year. Anyway,
without question.
The Michigan game up in 2002, that's another one. The 30-7 victory over Wisconsin in 2004 when they clinched the Big Ten title again, that was one.
That was awesome.
But like his most important wins were the win at Penn State in 2000. I mean, I had that one in there. I'm trying to think.
That the overtime one?
I should have had. Can we call my stuff up on the computers when we're in here?
Well, on that one. No, not that one.
This one.
That one.
This one. Yeah, do that, actually, because we did that the other day, and it made it a lot easier. But then I also had 5 most disappointing losses, and, Tom, that's pretty. I mean, Central Michigan, Western Michigan. I put the Iowa State loss in 2002 as one of the, wouldn't you say, when you're up 24-7 at home?
Absolutely.
With a team that ended up going undefeated in the Big Ten.
That's very,
you can go through there, and we can read them off, and you can tell me if you agree. And then I had
the smorgasbord.
Yeah, I have my conference my predictions. I had Wisconsin winning 10-2, 7-2. Iowa second, 8-4, 6-3. And then I can't remember. I think I had I picked Nebraska 6-6 and 4-5.
I think that's about right.
I'm not ready to say. I mean, I read a story that last night, and it wasn't even by Nebraska, making it sound like if they go less than 8-4, it's going to be a stunner. And did he get a roster infusion since he took over? Does he have a bunch of different players than were on the field last year?
He has got.
I asked that rhetorically and sarcastically.
Well,
I mean, they've added fresh.
I've got. Do you have it up?
I've got it.
Okay.
It's not Nebraska has gotten good players. They just haven't been able to do anything with them. I mean, recruiting.
When you say good players, recruiting-wise.
Recruiting-wise.
Okay. I mean, are most of those skill players? And
yes.
Okay, because, the Stanley Morgan and the J.T. Spielman, but weren't those kind of guys that were sort of in Iowa's recruiting range too, a little bit?
Yeah, and the other thing is the Big Ten, you've got to win in the trenches.
And
you've got to have Lions.
They were terrible there. They were terrible on defense. It's amazing how one person can change the narrative so much. I mean, for them to go to 4-8, from 4-8 to 8-4, as bad as they were, that would be dramatic,
shocking. All right, let's see. You're picking Michigan to win the East. That's
that's interesting. I didn't realize they have 10 starters back on defense.
Yeah,
and they got this Shea Patterson. He's really good. Did you see his stats at Mississippi? Threw for 3,200 yards and he's a 5-star. I got as much. And if they go 11-1 like I'm picking, lose to. I've even got them beating Notre Dame.
That's
got to be
first game, isn't it?
Yeah. And I'm not a huge Michigan fan. My niece went there, but that's just the way. I just think Ohio State breaking in a new quarterback this year. I just think Michigan on paper with their defense. My defensive player of the year was a choice between either Rashawn Gary or Devin Bush.
And you picked Devin Bush.
Devin Bush was a finalist for the Butkus Award. He was really good last year. They're just loaded on defense.
They are.
They're just loaded. And I keep thinking at some point he's
going
to have a break.
Has got to do something.
He's not going to lose to Ohio State forever. To me, this is about as vulnerable as Ohio State can be with a new quarterback, Urban Meyer dealing with all his stuff. And so, then I have Penn State. I think Penn State's going to be another 9-10 win season, but I just don't think they're going to be quite good enough to get into that top 3 or 4, what have you.
Yeah. Let's see, Iowa's 10 most important, indispensable players.
And what I explained in the column, these aren't their best players. There's a big difference.
These guys got to come through.
These guys got to come
for us
through
to have a special
because
season.
of the circumstances or because of the position they play. Noah Fant's probably the best player on the team.
Yeah.
He's on this list simply because he's so good, but he's toward the bottom. Yeah, go through. We'll see.
All right, Nate Stanley, no question.
Quarterback's got to be.
If he gets hurt, then all bets are off.
Or if he's bad, and
Amani Jones, absolutely middle linebacker. He's got to be the star of the show there.
And he's got to make a ton of tackles.
Yes,
Josie Jewell was a tackling machine all over the field.
Ryan Gersonde and Colton Rastetter, whoever wins the punting job, absolutely. And that really hurt us last year. We have to be able to flip the field with with the punting game, or Ferentz's system doesn't work very well.
I mean, that was one of the many things that contributed to the Wisconsin loss. The punting was horrible.
Terrible.
It was terrible, and they just kept pounding the field position. Because I wouldn't say Wisconsin's offense wasn't great that day.
No, they weren't. They were good enough.
They were good enough. They were able to run the ball, but he didn't run all over Iowa.
No.
And Hornibrook threw two pick sixes. Iowa gets 2 pick sixes and still loses by 24.
Well, that's how far apart those two teams were last year.
That made my top 5 disappointing losses. Okay,
absolutely. Keegan Render at center, very important, of course, always. Imir Smith-Marset, that's what Chuck Long said. He's the key to the passing game this year.
Got to give them a deep threat. That's a dimension they rarely have.
Miguel Racino's kicker. Yeah, I think Miguel's going to be rock solid.
He makes another one of my list on this thing.
Matt Nelson, defensive tackle. Yeah.
And I say him over any defensive end because there's enough talent at defensive end to where they're all going to play and be really important. And to me, I do put one defensive end on here, and you may disagree.
We will find out. Matt Hankins, he's got all the talent in the world. He's not very big.
But what have they had over the last 5-6 years that you almost take for granted?
A lockdown
a cornerback that just plays at a level. And I say it's him because he was ahead of Ojemudia kind of in the pecking order last year because he came on strong at the end.
Yeah. Noah Fant goes without saying.
Just because of how good he is.
And he's, and if they double team Noah Fant, then something's got to give.
Well, T.J. Hawkinson, yes.
And then Parker Hesse, I think he's absolutely critical to our. He's a leader out there.
He's the leader, and I still think obviously Epinesa and Anthony Nelson are the best pass rushers. They're the most dynamic. I think Hesse right now is still the best all-around defensive end. When I say all-around, stopping the run, covering his gaps, the times when the ball's up in the air, he's got the best ball skills. I mean, how many times has he made a huge play? Like the Nebraska interception.
Oh, absolutely.
He just has a knack for doing that. He's a former quarterback, and I do think don't get me wrong. They would be hurting without Epinesa or Anthony. I get it. I just think Hesse is just one of those rock players, the Pat Anger, the Josie Jewell. He's kind of that of this team. Yes.
Yeah, I agree with you. Kirk Ferentz's 5 biggest victories as Iowa's head coach. Editor's note.
Yeah, there you go.
Big is based on the importance of the win and on the circumstances rather than how impressive it was from a performance standpoint. Iowa over LSU. Oh, yeah, that was – and not just the last play.
But look what they did, though. They beat Nick Saban in his last game at LSU, and it secured the only 3-year stretch of double-digit win seasons in program history. There was a lot going in on that game.
Iowa over Penn State in the year 2000. That was a huge turning point for the program. I think,
they remember the Michigan State game to get Kirk's first win was huge, too. First Big Ten win was huge. Because they had to stop the bleeding. They did it, but right after that, Illinois beat them 31-0, and they just unraveled for 3 games. They were terrible, and things were getting really bleak. They had lost 18 of 20 games under Kirk going into that Penn State game, and that's the year Kirk even said that he was starting to doubt himself. Remember, we've asked him here, and he said 2000s when he actually looked himself in the mirror, am I going to be able to get this done? They had to win that game. And then look what they did. They went 39-13 over the next 52 games.
And then the Iowa-Purdue game, 31-28 in 2002. I'll never forget that game.
Well, what happens to that season if they lose that game? We don't know. I mean, that team could have – that season hung on the balance there because they went on to win their last 6 Big Ten games.
But Dallas Clark just had a
did Brad Banks, and then,
huge touchdown.
And then Adolphus Shelton. He had 2. He caught the one where they – and then Adolphus.
But he had like an 80 or a 96-yarder.
96, I believe it was. And then Brad Banks had that 44-yard quarterback draw, which is the most important quarterback draw, I'd say, in the history of the Iowa football program. To get them buried – they were buried in the end zone. That thing was back and forth. Remember Brandon Kirsch came in? They couldn't stop Brandon Kirsch.
And a kind of a similar play, and maybe not as important, certainly not as important as this, but was C.J. Beathard against Iowa State.
Yeah.
Had very similar.
That was just very similar to Brad. It just didn't look quite as smooth.
No.
But it still worked. It was almost under the exact same circumstance. Buried in the end zone, they shifted field position.
The Northern Iowa game with the 2 blocked field goals, of course. See what you say. This game makes the list more for what was avoided than accomplished. Yes, it would have been a public relations disaster if Iowa had lost this game, but thanks to 2 blocked field goals in the final seconds, a crisis was avoided.
Could you have imagined had they lost that game?
I after that game, I was just
we were
devastated.
We were all like, God, we're gonna suck. They're gonna suck.
We can barely beat UNI at home.
Read the last sentence that I write in that pick.
Okay, let's see.
Because I think it explains.
The last sentence. It was maybe the best example of how it's never as bad as it seems under Kirk Ferentz.
That's what you learned that day.
Okay, we're going to take. We've got a call on hold. We'll get to you right after we do the markets. Good morning.
Hey, good morning, guys.
It's Adam Haleska, Wells Fargo Advisors, with the markets.
Hey, everyone. Stocks ended higher for the day Friday. The Dow gained 133 points and closed at 25,790. The S&P 500 climbed 17 points last week and finished up at 2,874. And finally, for Friday here, Nasdaq Composite added 67 points to close at 7,945. The S&P 500, Nasdaq Composite, and Russell 2000 indices all closed at all-time highs amid geopolitical and central bank updates. After little progress was made in the two-day trade summit between the U.S. and China, investors shifted their attention to the Federal Reserve's Jackson Hole Symposium. In a speech on Friday, Fed Chair Jerome Powell stated that gradual rate increases remain appropriate given the strength of the U.S. economy. 10 of 11 sectors did finish higher, with materials pacing the gains. Technology also outperformed as Netflix added 5.8% on Friday, following an analyst upgrade. In earnings, Autodesk jumped 15.3% after topping analyst projections. Meanwhile, Gap was down 8.6% after the clothing retailer released disappointing forward guidance. Looking at today here, Monday, August 27th, major averages are poised to advance this morning. The Dow is currently up 217 points, S&P is up 20, and Nasdaq is up 71 points. Those markets are up in geopolitics as the U.S. and Mexico could reach a bilateral deal on NAFTA as early as today. In corporate news, U.S.-listed Chinese company Alibaba is up 2.7% on news that China's central bank took steps to stabilize the currency over the weekend. Once again, with Netflix, they're up 3.5% this morning. This on news that the company is developing a system to market its application directly to customers. And European markets are mostly higher at mid-session here. The stock 600 is up 0.3%, and the DAX is adding 0.5% following a report that German business confidence had risen. In Asia overnight, the Nikkei advanced 0.9%, while the Shanghai Composite jumped 1.9%. Treasuries are slightly weaker this morning, with yield on the benchmark 10-year note climbing 1 basis point. That's at 2.82%. In commodities here, crude is up 0.2%. That is at $68.84 a barrel. And gold is off less than 0.1%. And gold is trading at $12.06 an ounce. Once again, this has been Adam Haleska with Wells Fargo Advisors, LLC, member SIPC. If you're in the Iowa City, Coralville area, we can be reached at 319-338-3799. Or you can always come in and see us, Adam Haleska, Corey Urian, Ted Stoley, and Daryl Courtney. We're at 501 12th Avenue, Suite 201 in Coralville, Iowa.
Thanks a lot. Mighty 1630, KCJJ.
You're as close as your smart device. Just ask Alexa to play KCJJ on TuneIn. Our video and audio streams are powered by Lucky's Market at the Iowa City Marketplace.
Are we back?
Yeah, we're back.
All right. Continuing with Pat's...
Did we have a call, or did they...
We had. They didn't.
I wouldn't have waited anything.
All right. Continuing with Pat's... Kirk Ferentz's 5 biggest victories as Iowa head coach. Let's see. We did the Iowa versus Purdue, Northern Iowa, and then your 5th one was Iowa-Michigan State in the year 2000. Iowa entered the game 1-16 under Kirk Ferentz and was coming off a 45-33 loss at Indiana. Even the most devoted fans were growing restless, while the Ferentz bashers were saying, "I told you so."
I mean, it was bad.
It was.
And that team, I put them on there because that Michigan State team was actually ranked, and Iowa hadn't won a game since beating Northern Illinois the year before.
Iowa was desperate for a win, and it finally came on homecoming. The Hawkeyes upset the 25th-ranked Spartans to give Ferentz his first Big Ten victory. The celebration was short-lived, though, as Iowa lost its next 3 games against Illinois, Ohio State, and Wisconsin. All right, then you have a list of his 5 most impressive wins as the Iowa head coach. Last year, number 1, 55-24 over Ohio State without
question.
I mean, that's, the first play of the game, just set the table for that
Just
upset.
like the Rose Bowl did for Stanford.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's exactly what it was.
Yep. Number 2, Iowa, 34-9 over Michigan. I have a picture. Somebody took a picture of the scoreboard on that, the 34-9, and gave it to me in a frame, and I have it up in my Hawkeye bathroom.
It was incredible. It was that game before the Ohio State game. It was the game. Had there not been the Ohio State game last year and I'd done this list, obviously that would have been number 1. I mean, clearly.
Iowa's beat down of Florida 37-17.
Granted, Florida was coached by Ron Zook, but nobody saw that coming.
No, and that was Outback Bowl, right?
Yes, and this is not a knock, but would you say, Tom, is it fair to say was a 10-3 team that wasn't maybe 10-3 talent?
That was Nathan Chandler's 1 year.
Yep, and he was adequate. He was a good, better than serviceable quarterback, but he never made it look easy. That team rarely made it look easy. But they found a way to get it done.
And I liked that team. They did find a way to get it done, and boy, especially comparing it to the last game when we played Florida, when they had practically their whole defense was out, and they just killed us.
In that game, Iowa destroyed them, and that was Hodge Greenway's sophomore year. That was their first year starting together. Things were starting to really grow on defense.
And boy, did they! Iowa 33 over Ohio State, 33-7, and that was in 2004 was an amazing game. I think, Ohio State was extremely young that year.
They were 8-5 that year, but still, it's Ohio State.
It's Ohio State, and we just kicked their butts all day long.
I couldn't leave it off.
Yeah, I've got a question.
All right.
John Patterson brought it up, and what do you think Iowa would have been the last 2 years without Akram Watley?
Well,
we lost record.
That's
he's worried. The more I think about, the more that worries me.
Well, that's one of my worries with this team is Akram did a lot that had nothing to do with coaching, nothing to do with scheme, nothing to do with strategy.
Just something in for nothing into something.
Yes, that's what I meant. That can't be coached. Do they have somebody to do that? I don't know. There were times when he shifted field position just on his own. So that would be one of my concerns is if they don't have that big play guy. Everyone's like, well, they've got Amir Smith-Barset. He still needs to get the ball into his hands. With Akram, all you had to do was hand it off to him. There was a chance he was going to make 3 guys miss and turn nothing into something.
No doubt. But the other thing is I think Brian Ferentz in year 2, as opposed to year 1, we should see a shift there. I would think.
You mean be better? You mean? I didn't think he was that bad last year. I thought he made a couple bad calls, but I thought for the most part I liked what Brian.
I did
Ferentz
too, but our offense was not very good.
No, but I think that was due partly to just because that's what it was.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not knocking it, but there's times when Iowa football doesn't have a great dominating offense. Rarely do they have a great dominating offense that functions. Sure. 2002 was one of the few times when Kirk had an offense that just every week you didn't have to worry about it. So, but
the bowl game this year seemed like it was Akram.
Oh, a lot of it was. That was so hard to read, though. They had that on again the other day. That game. Those guys were skating all over the place.
Yeah, it was just awful.
It was ridiculous. They should not play games
no.
like that. But no, I've brought up the same thing. I do wonder about his playmaking skills, how much that is going to hurt them. But I'm going to go all the way back to 1985. 1986, they went without Chuck Long or Ronnie Harmon, and they still managed to win 9 games because the program was rolling. I don't think Iowa's quite as good right now as it was under Hayden Fry in the mid-'80s because that was the glory years. But we'll see. I mean, but that is a concern. I think that's a fair concern.
I just hope somebody can fill his shoes.
Well, they may not just be somebody. One of my predictions, and we'll do my predictions here, I think they're going to have 3 running backs rush for at least 400 yards apiece because I think all these guys are going to play. I really do.
Okay. Well, hopefully you're right, Pat.
All right.
We hope so.
Let's go.
All right, have a good day.
Your last most important win, Iowa 30 over Wisconsin 7 in 2004 when we clinched the
last Big Ten title.
Yep.
Wow.
Yep.
And they just dominated them. And that was
14 years.
Wisconsin was ranked 9th, and that was Barry Alvarez, and they just went and just never in doubt.
Hello.
Okay, how come no one's talking about the tradition that's been reinstated this year that hasn't been here for a few years?
What?
What's that? You call in 15 times a day?
No. Pat made it funny.
I'm just kidding.
Made it funny.
I'm just kidding.
No, that every main artery in Iowa City and Cornwall is being worked on.
We've complained about. Trust me, we've complained about it, Jeff.
It's crazy.
It really is. It's almost like a conspiracy.
I'm telling you, it used to be like this. Every week, every first game, and
not like
the
this.
The last few years, they've done better.
Is there a north-south way that's not impacted? A major way to get north and south of this town right now that's not?
Well, let's see. Dubuque Street, no.
Mormon Track, no. Riverside, no.
No. Scott Boulevard.
Scott Boulevard today went down, and it's going past next.
No, there isn't. I mean, it's seriously. I told my driver to pick me up at 12:15 because I usually get there about 12:30, 12:35. I don't know.
Driver, he sounds like some rich.
I got
big
my
rich station.
driver.
Yeah, driving instead of driving Miss Daisy, it's driving Mr. Crazy. I like driving Mr. Crazy. You like that?
Yeah,
I like that. I'm with you though, Jeff. This is weird how this is all happening. People just need to be patient and plan ahead. Saturday.
That ain't happening.
No, people aren't patient.
Have you ever been to a football game day traffic?
Well, here's the good news: is it's a 2:30
and
kickoff.
people will.
That spaces things out.
I'm going to wait. I'm going to wait and not get to the stadium till about 12:31. Most of my colleagues get there about 6 a.m. I'm going to get there about. I'm going to let
stop
the traffic
by the tailgate and get absolutely hammered.
I'm sure that would.
Bud set up this morning at 6.
He's already there.
He's
already
drinking. Friday night. It's just. Saturday night. It's just going to be
a mosh pit. It's just going to be a mosh pit. Bud's just going to dive into a big.
I'm telling you, it is going to be a nightmare.
Yep, Bud's going to dive into just a big pile of bodies. There you go. I'm with you though.
The only way it could be worse is if we lose.
Yes.
Then there will be blood on the track somewhere.
There's blood in the streets. I just started singing Peace Frog.
But you didn't get 7 notes, so I think you're good.
Jeff.
Thanks, Jeff. In the town of New Hay. All right.
Yeah.
I love that song. You got it in the Wall of Shame?
Probably.
Where are we at?
Okay, Iowa's 3 most underrated players this year.
Curious to see if you agree with me on these.
Miguel Racinos. Yeah.
Well, the reason I put him in there is because LeVar Woods said that he's not the starter. They refuse to acknowledge him as the starter right now. And I think that's motivation. But
if he's not the starter, I will be shocked.
I will be too.
He has been. I think he was
know what they're
solid.
doing. They're trying to keep the other kickers motivated. But he was really good last year.
No, absolutely. And Keith Duncan, he's got another year after this, doesn't he?
Yeah, but LeVar, I think 2, doesn't he? LeVar mentioned that that Shudak kid was actually pushing 2. Mentioned all 3 of them, and I think he's just doing. And I'm sure they are doing well, but I'd be stunned if Racinos isn't the starter.
And then Parker Hesse, I would say he's very much underrated.
Partly that I didn't mention it because I didn't want to keep beating on it. But remember when the depth chart came out in January or for spring. And fans went to social media, why is Epinesa not starting over Hesse? And remember then Epi put that, hey, guys, he's good, he's great for my son. There's just this kind of this perception that Parker Hesse is lesser than the other 2, and I don't think that's fair.
It isn't fair, and he's been a great Hawkeye. And, the play I'll always remember until he was the one at Nebraska.
He did everything. He deflected it, intercepted it, and scored.
What a heady play.
But he's not a former 5-star recruit like Epinesa,
no.
And he's not a physical freak like Epinesa and Anthony Nelson at 6'7". Don't get me wrong. Those guys are both great. I get it.
And then the next guy, Nick Easley. Yeah, he was our...
He had 51 catches
He was
year.
Our go-to guy last year because Meerkat wasn't 100%.
And Amir Smith-Marset was too inconsistent.
He was too young.
It's not Nick Easley's fault that he was Iowa's best receiver last year.
No.
But I think some people didn't want to accept that because he's not going to be a guy to stretch defenses and turn a 10-yard pass into a 90-yard touchdown. But he catches most stuff thrown to him.
7 predictions by Mr.
Harty. I had a little fun with this one.
Kirk Ferentz will surpass 150 career wins barely. So you picked 8 and 4,
yep.
So that'll be 1 over.
Yep.
I think he'll be 1 better than that, but we shall see. Iowa will have 3 running backs Ivory Kelly-Martin, Torin Young, and Mekhi Sargent, who rushed for at least 400 yards this season. I agree with that.
I was going to say 300, but I decided to take a bigger chance.
No, I think
they're all three going to play, and I think injuries may. I think there's going to be some weeks where one's way healthier than the other, and vice versa.
Michigan will defeat Ohio State for the first time under Jim Harbaugh, possibly. Let's see, that's always the last game of the year, right? In the Big Ten for both teams.
Did you see what I said about Urban Meyer?
Well, Urban Meyer will say at his press conference that he doesn't remember losing the game. And ask where the media comes up with these stories. That's pretty good. I don't. That's possible.
This is Michigan's best chance since he's been there.
I think without question because of their defense
and new quarterback,
and their offense has got to show.
And I think he's finally got his quarterback, but there's no way McCaffrey's going to stay there. He's going to transfer. I could see that McCaffrey kid being transferred into a. He's not going to stay at Michigan for 4 years and be a backup quarterback. There's no way.
No. Brett Bielema will turn down a chance to replace DJ Durkin at Maryland. That's interesting. I would turn it down too.
He'd be. I still think that he's a guy that'll go. Brett Bielema's in a job right now with New England where he could easily leave. You know what I mean?
Brett Bielema will be mentioned as a possible replacement for Lovie Smith at Illinois once the Fighting Illini start to struggle again.
I think if Bielema doesn't take the Maryland job, which I don't think he will, I'm thinking he'll be mentioned. And Lovie's 2-6, I think we're going to start hearing Brett. I don't think he takes the Illinois job either. Do you?
I wouldn't think so.
I don't think. I think
it's too much of a cesspool.
Yeah, it's just too hard.
Terrible.
I don't think they have the money.
Well, I don't think Brett Bielema has to take the Illinois job. Yeah. Some coaches, you take it, and that's your big break, and if it doesn't work, you've got your – but, yeah, and Illinois, well, someone's paying Lovie Smith $6 million a year.
Yeah, but –
he's got one of the best contracts, and what's his buyouts
But they've just gone completely
because of stuff like paying Lovie Smith $6 million.
I like your next one.
What's that?
Minnesota will win fewer than 6 games under second-year coach P.J. Fleck, causing some to wonder if Fleck's promotional catchphrase, row the boat, should be changed to abandon ship. That's good.
I don't think they're going to be very good this year.
I don't think they are either, and, I mean, they got a walk-on quarterback and I wasn't very impressed with them last year.
No, I wasn't either. That game against Iowa didn't even play that well against them last year, and that game still never – it was a boring game.
Terrible. Yeah, I wonder if PJ's going to be able to get it done there.
He's got 4 years. He'll get 4 years. Yeah. Maybe 5 if he shows a little bit of life and because was so popular when they hired him. But, I mean, if you don't get it done in 3 to 4 years in this age, you're gone.
And number 7, Nebraska lawmakers will push to make Scott Frost's birthday a national holiday. But their wishes will be denied. I like that, too. Top 3 candidates for the 2018 Heisman Trophy. Bryce Love, running back, Stanford, I think that's a good choice. Will Greer, quarterback, West Virginia. I don't know that much about him.
Going to have a ton of yards this year if he doesn't get hurt. He was really hot at the end of last year. For them, it'll be whether they win 7 or 10 or 11 games. Because there's not a ton of just really breakout candidates.
No, Trace McSorley, quarterback, Penn State.
He's my offensive player of the year. I think he's going to have a huge year.
I do, too, especially he's not going to have Saquon Barkley.
And he had a huge year last year with Saquon. Yes. Now, that could hurt him a little bit, but they've got this Miles Sanders, he's not Saquon Barkley, but he's a future NFL running back. He's really good. Penn State's to the point now where their talent level is getting close to back to where it was in Joe Pa's heyday. I mean, they've got really good players, and McSorley, to me, is kind of this year's Baker Mayfield. You see?
God, he seems like he's been there forever, doesn't it?
And he's good. I mean, he was good in that game against Iowa last year.
That last drive he was fabulous.
He was. And that last pass, he had to be perfect on that throw because it's not that like Iowa was out of position.
No. Amani Hooker said, hey, if I had gone up with 2 hands instead of 1, I might have been able to.
Yeah, it was that close. That was an incredible game. That was still one.
And what a pass! I mean, what an amazing freaking pass to throw in that situation.
It felt different than the Michigan State game, the Big Ten championship, because that was just a grind, 5 yard. So Penn State went down that
because they only had about a minute and a half, didn't they?
Less than 2 minutes, and they had to cover a lot of territory, and they did. And it was by no means just Saquon Barkley. That was a tough one. I guess I could have done another category, 5 toughest losses under Ferentz, and that would definitely be one of them. The Iowa State one would be one of them.
Fake punt game, Wisconsin.
You could argue that could be one of them. A couple of those early Iowa State games too.
Well, the 2002 one.
Yeah, I mentioned that one.
24-7 at half, and and then the freaking quarterback Seneca Wallace just came out and just looked like Superman.
Yeah, I forgot. He threw for 361 yards in that game. That was. But remember we had Brad on, and
it was almost. But his legs, I think, were maybe even more important.
Brad, there's the rumor. Brad would never say it, that his hands were taped too tight, and he didn't have feeling in his fingers. And you notice Brad did drop the ball like he never did at any other time that season. It was just a bunch of fluky stuff that happened, and that's what you need to have happen when you blow a 24-7 lead. But then everyone credited McCarney's halftime. Remember his speech where he supposedly went in there and yelled, "We're out there freaking servicing them, we got to." And he had one of his big. And the players, remember after that loss, the players all said when we took that field in the second half, we were scared to lose because McCarney had put so much energy into him during halftime. So that was the storyline after that game. I did a bunch of I kind of looked things up as I was going through, and that was a lot of what we wrote about was McCarney's ability to motivate a lesser team to beat his alma mater, and that was often the storyline with him, wasn't it?
And Iowa peed down their legs in the second half also. So
well, they had it happen. Some will say that Iowa choked, and the McCarney fans will say they choked because of the McCarney energy. I've heard that Brad's fingers were taped too tight, and that's part of the reason he dropped the ball, because he didn't have the normal feel in his fingers. But the other one, they made a great play. They stripped him in the pocket. I mean, they did. But Seneca Wallace was the difference in both of those games. I mean, he was the reason they beat Iowa in 01 and 02.
No doubt. No doubt about it. So let's see.
Your colleague Morehouse, did you see him get into a tussle with?
I didn't dive into it, but
I just saw Morehouse's last comment, which was "eat ass."
Well, first it was "F you."
Why? What happened?
Huh?
From Morehouse?
Yeah.
What happened?
He got into some fight with some guy criticizing him.
Criticizing him for what? That series he did?
I guess.
I mean, why would you criticize somebody who takes the time to write about 143 victories? I mean, what's the point? Twitter, people are such dicks on Twitter.
Stupid.
He's the first thing, F you, and with the
well,
word,
I mean, I'm sure he put in a lot of time with that, and I just...
Well, of course he did.
I mean, he's writing stuff that fans want to read, and then some guy... I mean, I just don't...
I don't know. I think Mark Morehouse is very good. Personally.
That's just the nature of Twitter.
But do you... Yeah, but I've never seen you...
I've gotten into it with people.
But not with the F word.
Well, no, I've never used the F word, but that's his choice. I mean, I'm not knocking with the guy. I haven't seen... Do we know what the guy said?
I didn't see it. I should have checked out the thread, but I didn't.
Did you see it?
Yeah, did you see it? Hell, Tommy... There's nothing Tommy doesn't... There's nothing... What don't you see on social media, Tommy?
The guy was going after him because he said he made it all about himself. The
made what all about himself?
Or whatever it was. He said you made it all about yourself, and a real journalist wouldn't do that.
Well, that's kind of mean.
Yeah.
I mean, especially, that would be frustrating to work your ass off on something that, man, I'll tell you what, I think if I had to do 1 through 4, I would have probably put a gun to my head by about 68. I don't think I could have made it. I commend Mark for making it all the way through. And I just don't know, what does that person benefit from sending that tweet out? Does that make him feel better?
It makes him feel good because
Twitter's a cesspool. No, I thought I just was taken back because I've never seen Morehouse react like that before. Maybe he has.
Oh, I don't know. Like I said, I'm not on Twitter.
Usually he's pretty diplomatic.
The guy was a deplorable.
Yeah.
I'm sure he got ripped because Mark's really popular on Twitter. He's got a ton of followers and he follows a ton of people. He's been on Twitter for years, so I'm guessing his comrades came to his defense, and that's a mean thing to say to somebody. It's just not. It's not necessary. I don't get it.
Hello.
Husker fan here. Hey, guys. That was pretty funny, that line about making Scott Frost's birthday a national holiday.
Will it happen?
Yeah, no, that's not going to happen. Come on, let's get real. That's not going to happen.
All right.
But I am planning to go to the parade.
The national championship parade?
No, the Predators are going on his birthday.
Oh, okay.
Take care.
All right. I like Nebraska fan. I think we're going to keep. I think
so far.
You're not going to like him if they're 9-1, and he.
Hey, if they're 9-1, then there's your coach of the year.
What if they
God.
beat? What if they beat Iowa by 40, and Nebraska fan calls and says, "Hey, Suter, nah." What will you say?
I'll tell him to F off. I'll make Mark Morehouse look like
look, he only did it on Twitter. We're doing it on 10,000.
I remember I got into it with a couple punks on Twitter, and when I was still working at the Press Citizen, and they told me you can't do that. I mean,
I think that's the deal. That's why I was.
But I'm not knocking Mark because I don't know what he did,
and I'm not either. I'm not knocking him or making. No, I'm just saying.
So FU went to eat S.
Yeah. I just never seen him react like that before.
Well, I'm guessing he probably doesn't get a lot of things where he spends a whole summer writing.
I mean, my God, think of the work to rate 143 wins.
And then a guy rips him,
I
guess. I mean, I just don't get that. I don't understand why somebody would do that to somebody.
Hello.
I think if you're making season predictions, you should be able to make one with no injuries and one with 2 serious injuries.
Jeez. Okay.
Because, I mean, at the end of the season, you say, we would have won this if so-and-so wasn't hurt. I mean, it's kind of like NASCAR. How many wrecks, and that's why somebody didn't win. But your predictions, I'd say are probably with no injuries, and that's tough.
Well, yeah. I mean, but my indispensable players is kind of where I'm talking injuries. I mean, those are the 10 players they can least afford to lose to injury or anything because of not necessarily because of how good they are, but because of the position they play and the circumstances. So no, you're right though. I mean, injuries are the one
always
you don't know.
They're
the X factor.
Predict them.
Can't predict them at all. You just never know.
Right. And you have no control over it, and it's. I don't know. Sure looking forward to it, though.
So I guess I could have done my picks, and then my picks with Nate Stanley and Noah Fant both suffering season-ending injuries in the season opener. Because, that would change things drastically. Let's hope that doesn't happen.
Thing is, while we're talking about, how come Chinese restaurants never advertise? What? I thought about that last night.
Ariza
advertises with us.
Yeah.
With you guys, yeah. I mean,
New restaurant alert.
But you never see it on TV.
Well, screw TV.
Well, it's expensive. It's expensive.
It's too expensive. People are, that are watching TV normally.
Hell, you guys
are
ain't
shooting
cheap.
up heroin and, snorting cocaine.
I thought that was just my music taste.
Yeah, that too.
Me and my, because God knows I can't listen.
What do you care whether they advertise on TV?
I don't know. I just thought about before I went to sleep. The only TV I watch is the terrorist alert desk. Because, that's all good news.
The only time I ever see TV ads is during football season, and that's it. I don't. And basketball.
If KGN
that's your music choice, Pat. Is shooting up heroin and snorting cocaine.
Yep.
If KGN does that, they also do that circuit news, And I looked it up one time.
No, I don't know. I haven't watched KGAN in 20 years.
We're 5 days away from the freaking game, and you're talking about Chinese restaurants advertising on TV and Sinclair. Why? Why?
Because they're goofy.
Well, you're right about that.
See you later. What the hell?
I thought that was kind of fun. It's not all Iowa football.
I like the guy and
absolutely.
Everything. Yeah, but what the hell are we talking about? Chinese restaurants advertising on TV.
So where did that come?
Do Mexican restaurants advertise on TV? I mean,
I don't know. I don't.
Because those are two of my.
As I say, I don't see them. So
those are my two of my favorite foods are Chinese, and I could eat Mexican food 8 times a day.
I could too.
8 times a day. I could.
And every single Mexican restaurant is good around here. Every single one.
Hell,
they're different, and I'm including Taco Bell.
Taco Bell and Taco John's are good.
Delicious.
You can't make bad Mexican food. You really can't. I mean, even the frozen burritos you get, if you put enough hot sauce on them, they're not bad in the microwave.
I don't care for Carlos O'Kelly.
I haven't eaten.
I haven't eaten there.
I have never cared. I mean, it's not really it's Mex.
It's Tex-Mex.
Yeah.
What's Tex-Mex mean? How's that different?
It means it's Americanized,
okay.
basically.
All right.
Is that too simplistic?
Taco is probably
it's just not.
A good steak and cilantro and onion taco is probably maybe my favorite food. I mean, I could eat. It's never doesn't sound good. So
no, I love Mexican.
Well, I'm not an onion guy, but
God.
but I agree that Mexican food. I'm hooked on the combination of chicken and chorizo and queso. Almost all Mexican restaurants have some.
And I don't like any of what you just said. I do chicken with Chinese.
We were just breaking it down.
It is so good.
We were breaking.
The casino guy just called it.
Now we're talking.
Derailed it.
We're drifting. We're drifting.
And I like casino guy a lot, but where in the hell did that come from?
Casino
Who
guy.
do the Cyclones play this week?
I don't know. I should know, and I don't.
And I've even seen. Who?
Look up who Iowa State plays.
Hello?
If I said chickadee China, the Chinese chicken, would that break the rules?
Yeah.
I don't know what you're talking
this
about.
is for YouTube. Was that a song?
Yeah.
You can't even.
Yeah. Bare naked lady.
You can't. South Dakota State. You can't even think about music, Dirk, if we're putting this on YouTube. Don't even think about music.
Hey, why don't you have any Chinese restaurant clients that advertise on TV?
Can't think of any.
And how about them Cubbies, Dirk?
Yeah.
They really stepped up.
They had to, man. Cardinals got it down to what, 2.5?
No, it's still 4.
Well, no, they had it. They had it down. No, but they
side.
had it down to 2.5 at one point.
Yeah,
Yeah,
2.5.
yeah.
So now it's 4 and 5 on the loss
I'll
side.
tell you, Daniel
which is what
Murphy
really
has
counts.
been huge. And the moment I found out they got Daniel Murphy, I was so happy for, number one, just so we don't have to face him anymore, at least for this season. Man, is he
And Cardinal fans would like to know why they didn't block that transaction, because the way the rules work, I think after August 1st, anyone on waivers has to clear every team.
Well, I think they let him go because his contract's up at the end of this year, I believe.
Yeah, that's why the Mets, or not the Mets,
Nationals.
the Nationals did. But every team behind the Cubs in the National League has the right to block that deal by
I'm
simply
glad they
putting in
didn't.
a claim or a waiver claim on him. And the Cardinals could have done that as well as any other team in the
Well, thank
National
you for not doing it because they're undefeated since they got him, and he's hitting like 400.
He's a difference maker.
He is. He loves to hit at Wrigley, too. I mean, he loves to hit at Wrigley.
Yeah.
And they've already said, the players have already said, he's got a great locker room presence.
Yeah,
So,
he
no.
could be. That could be a real pivotal move by the Cubs before this is all.
And, hey,
said
the
and
Yankees
done.
are coming. Are they only down 6 now to the Red Sox? They've
And
cut.
the Sox just got swept by
Yep.
Tampa Bay.
The Yankees have trimmed 4 games in like a week.
Well, the Cubs had another pretty important transaction too.
What was
Cole Hamels?
Oh,
that's been unbelievable.
Huge. Way better than I thought.
Unbelievable.
Yeah. You're right. He has been, and that's good too because John Lester's been pretty
Yeah.
believable. I mean, he hasn't been good since the All-Star break.
Well, the Cardinal fans are still basking in this turnaround, and
Well,
regardless
there's reason
of how it
to.
ends
I mean,
up,
you
we're
should
happy.
be.
Yeah, no, I mean,
They're a scrappy bunch of guys. They had a rookie, Harrison Bader, center fielder, who scored from second base yesterday on an infield hit.
he's got a strong arm too.
Yeah, well,
got a
he's
cannon.
fast. He's one of the fastest players in the major leagues and making big plays in the outfield. But that play yesterday where he scored from second base on an infield hit by the pitcher was just phenomenal. It's one of those plays where teammates get fired up, and they just love having a guy like that on their team. And like I said, Cardinal fans are really enjoying this stretch. And no matter how it ends up, it's made it an exciting end of the season.
It sure
we got
has.
4 weeks left.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So
Yep.
a lot of fun coming up here.
Oh yeah, September's a fun, busy month.
Yeah. And Pat, you've got an interesting story on the Iowa women's basketball team who just got a recruit out of Crestwood Center. I wonder if you could talk a little bit about her.
Sharon Goodman. I got to admit, I knew nothing about her before she committed, and she led Crestwood to the 3A state title this year as a sophomore, 6'2", averaged basically 20 points and 7 rebounds a game, averaged 24 in the state tournament. I looked up the scores; they just rolled to the 3A
She is
title.
huge.
Sharon Goodman, 6'2", and She looks like a good one on paper, and she's still got 2 more years of high school.
6'2".
Yes.
That's
so
awesome.
she could grow.
Well, she can shoot. She's got a good shot. I did a little research on her. She's highly skilled. I mean, they don't just offer scholarships to anybody as sophomores.
How tall is Megan Gustafson?
6'3".
6'3".
Yep.
So this gal has a chance to grow
that's
some more.
kind of what she's going to carry on hopefully the tradition after Megan leaves. They will not play together. I mean, so she'll miss Megan by 2 years, actually.
Yeah.
So, but no, I thought this was a good get for them. Whenever you see someone that young getting the scholarship, you know she must be pretty good.
Hey, Captain,
Yeah.
how will you be celebrating your namesake's birthday today? Daryl Dragon.
Wasn't he nuts?
Wasn't that Captain at Tennille's?
Yeah, but isn't he goofy?
Well,
he's got a neurological disorder.
Well, why did she leave him, though?
They fill out a Muskrat Love.
Lack of affection.
Didn't they fill out a Muskrat Love?
Yeah,
Muskrat Susie.
He wouldn't do it with her. I would have
He
done
wouldn't
it
even
with her.
do it
Wouldn't
one
you
more
have done
time.
it with
I
her?
would have done the
Single?
I would have done the
Single,
I would have done the '70s version of her.
At least once.
Tennille comes to you and wants to do it.
The '70s version of her, yes.
Why wouldn't you do
Not the '90s, 2000 or.
I'd be making out with her under the covers, and then all of a sudden say, "Hey, do you ever notice that Chinese restaurants don't advertise on TV?"
Is that part of Muskrat Love?
His lack of affection was due to this genetic neurological disorder, and they have reconciled. They weren't playing together, but he's pretty much retired.
He did other music.
So are they together again?
Who was he with before her? Other
I don't
musician.
know.
Don't know.
He's 76 years old today.
But he did other music before her.
He was with the Beach Boys.
That's right. That's what I thought. I knew he was.
Spent 5 years playing
that's what I thought.
keyboards, guitar, and bass with them in the studio.
So would Muskrat Love be one of the 5 worst songs ever? Could you make a strong case? Is that up there with Feelings and?
Yeah,
no, not for me.
And it's one of those songs that they did that has sound effects in it that I hate.
Okay, they got the little muskrats making noise in the background, don't they?
Yeah.
Muskrat Susie and Muskrat Slim.
Yeah.
Yeah. By the way, Iowa City Community Schools are dismissing early.
Because of heat?
Yes.
It is it's so humid out.
I didn't love Muskrat Love, believe me, but that I wouldn't put it in my bottom 10.
Okay, was it worse than You Light Up My Life and Feelings?
No, it's better than those.
Better
two
than
songs.
those?
Yes.
No, it's as
to me.
bad. It's bad.
What's the worst of those 3 then? You Light Up My Life and Feelings. What's worse between those 2?
You Light Up My Life, probably.
They're both bad, though, aren't they?
Yes,
You louse up my life. Hey, guess who turned 66 today?
Don't know.
Pee Wee Herman.
Wow. God, does that make me feel old? Pee Wee's Showcase, or what was that called? Showroom, or?
Pee Wee's Playhouse.
Pee Wee's Playhouse, yeah.
Hey, I'm telling you what, if you had kids during that era, that was classic Saturday morning TV.
Oh, that was great TV.
Guy was a good act. Guy's a good act. Remember this Party played in Blow? He was really good in Blow. What's his name? Paul Rubens?
Paul Rubens.
He can act.
Yeah, he's been in a couple criminal intents, Law and Order.
I know.
Criminal intent.
He and Phil
can
Hartman
be scary.
were writing partners with the Groundlings in L.A., the comedy improv group. And Phil Hartman helped him create the Pee Wee Herman character.
Yeah, anything Phil Hartman did was funny.
I agree.
He's been dead for about 20 years. I think was it
Isn't that amazing?
Yeah, that was so sad.
I just
got Pee Wee's still making Pee Wee Herman movies on Netflix.
I was not aware of that. I was too old for Pee Wee Herman to be impacted by that as a kid. I was too old for his Playhouse.
That Playhouse was just
It wasn't
gold.
just like for kids, though. It was
okay.
It was kind of.
Where are you going with that?
I never thought he was very funny, personally.
I never did either.
The Playhouse was kind of interesting.
What, was it for kids and pedophiles? What are you saying?
No. It was for adults. It was like Rocky and Bullwinkle.
All right, now I was kidding when I
action.
said that, but I watched it enough to know that. Did you think Pee Wee's Playhouse was for adults?
Well,
I did.
I just didn't think it was funny.
They ran it on MTV, and their average audience. Their average audience was between 35 and 40.
It's amazing how you know all these stats.
Yeah, I get TV.
He knows more stats than I know about sports.
He does.
Phil Hartman had a regular character on Pee Wee's Playhouse.
What was it? Like I said, I never watched it.
Tommy could tell you.
Didn't Paul Rubens have some issues outside of
serious masturbatory issues?
And that's why I was
in an adult theater.
Yeah, and I don't know. I mean, okay. I mean, all right.
Well, hey, Tommy.
Phil Hartman was Captain Carl.
Yeah. There we go,
Phil
Captain
was
Carl.
Lawrence Fishburne was Cowboy Curtis.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was really good stuff.
Channel 2 send it over, but I don't have anything from the schools.
Okay.
Yeah, see if they're dismissing and when they're dismissing.
You don't believe Channel 2?
No, not really.
Because they don't run the Chinese
they don't run Chinese restaurants if they're not running commercials.
God, I'm actually kind of hungry for Chinese food now.
They're not down with the chickadee China, the Chinese chicken?
Yeah, don't push it.
Okay. Well, guys, thanks for taking my call. Go
All right,
Hawks,
Dirk.
big week. Fire up.
Yes, sir.
It's here. It's finally here.
I'm excited, and the Big Ten season actually starts Thursday with Northwestern and Purdue, and that's
right.
Great.
I'll look forward to
great
that.
starter.
And you've got an auction on Friday, right?
We do.
So,
and there's another Big Ten. Wisconsin plays on Friday night.
But we're going to get done with the auction
auctions
around
10:30.
I think
Auctions
Pat should go
rule.
on between 10:30 and
auctions.
1. I think you should make
I just
them
want to
come
tell
in.
you guys, I think your auctions kick ass.
Should
They're
have
the best
Hey
thing.
Harty.
Yeah, the Hey Harty show.
Your auctions are the best thing ever. You know it?
Hello.
Hey, just for the Iowa City school districts, elementary staying in school, it's for the high school and middle schools.
So the ones that are they? Hopefully they're air conditioned, or are they just torturing the little kids?
The elementaries are air conditioned.
Okay, all right. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, my school was old. We didn't have air conditioning, but I don't remember us ever getting out for heat. I think we're soft in our old age.
So I am jacked about football season.
I am too. I mean, I guess as jacked as I ever get. I don't get as jacked as you do, but you don't work near as hard as I do. No football on Iowa football.
The new schools, the windows don't open. That's the difference. Our windows open.
I can't remember the last time I approached Iowa football as a social.
Yeah.
Okay. Due to the high heat and humidity for this afternoon, Iowa City schools will dismiss junior high and high school students at 1 today. This also includes students at Tate, Trek, and Transitional Services Center. Elementary students will be released at their normal dismissal time. So that's from the Iowa City.
It is kind of
Community
incredible
School
to
District.
think that we still live in an era when not every school is air conditioned, isn't it?
Well, I remember. I mean, I was at U-High, and of course that was not air conditioned.
Where was it located?
It's, on the Iowa River, just down the street from the Union. It's where North Hall is now.
Okay.
Our windows opened. I mean.
Our windows opened.
And I mean, some of the schools now, the windows don't open. Thank God, too. Because Bobby Schneider, we'd be taking a test, and Schneider'd be out there feeding answers to his friends through the window.
So what was that game again on Thursday? Northwestern,
Purdue.
Isn't that weird that they're opening up? But I mean, there's been times in the past where Iowa's opened up with a conference opponent.
That's a heck of a game.
I will look forward to watching that game. And it's just, I mean, I did watch a couple. I just couldn't get into New Mexico State and Wyoming.
I didn't watch it.
Then there was a bunch of high school games on.
Gotta wait sometime.
ESPN. Did we make somebody wait through this? Nothing.
Yeah, but
let me know when there's a caller. I'll
I
gladly
understand, but it's like 15 seconds. It can wait longer.
Well, okay, but I was contributing nothing to the show. I was just rambling.
Yes.
And Iowa opens the season, I think, in 4
I'm
years.
Starting at 5 this morning.
I think in 4 years we open with Indiana as our opening game.
I did see that down the road, and it's just different. But it used to happen under Hayden Fry. They did that some, but no, to me, Northwestern.
Hayden Fry's first year.
Yeah, Lou Corso up 26-3 at halftime, lose 30-26. Were you at that game?
Absolutely. at halftime, we were saying, "What the hell?"
And then afterwards, you're like, "We better start a rock band. This sucks." Because you started a band like 2 years later, didn't you?
Yeah.
I think that game may have been the difference. You went from thinking you're going to go to the Rose Bowl to starting landslide. Because it was a landslide in the second half.
Is that how you came up with landslide?
No, it was the only name that nobody objected to. So, I mean, we had a list of 200 names.
When I came here, and and you looked familiar. But then I asked I asked Garst. I said, was he in a band? And he said, yeah, I was in Landfill. And I go, oh, okay. And then when I said, yeah, I remember you from the band Landfill, you thought I was being a dick.
Well, I mistakenly called it I mistakenly called it Mudslide when I first met you guys a couple times.
We never heard any of those before.
We broadcast.
Yeah.
So Landfill and Mudslide were two things that people said to you as jokes?
Mudslides.
My favorite mistake, we were playing a club in Somerset, Pennsylvania, and we played there a lot, actually. But the first time we played there, now appearing Life Stride. Life Stride. We got a big kick out of it.
That is pretty funny. How about Rock Pile?
Never had that one.
I remember there's a video of Robert Plant singing "The Assisted." You like Rock Pile, Captain?
Yeah.
Let's play some Rock Pile. YouTube told me we could play Rock Pile. I've been conversing with them. They're going to give us 3 reprieves a week.
Good luck conversing with them.
Hey, the Two Deeps come out today.
I don't expect.
Do you expect any earth-shattering?
No, I mean I don't. Obviously, we'll have the tackles. I think it's going to be Kaldenberg and Paulson, possibly Levi Ferguson.
Hey, we got a call.
I don't think anything else is. They hung up.
Oh, come on.
I mean, what do we have to? I mean, do we have to? The moment the rings, we have to just stop what we're doing. They were a little impatient. Now wait them 15 seconds.
Yeah, I'll go with Levi and Ferguson.
What the hell was that?
I don't know.
That was kind of creepy.
Yeah.
Sounded like the voice from War Games, which I watched again yesterday.
Do you want to
that is a good
play
game.
a game?
You know,
that is a good movie.
That's a great movie.
I love the scene where that nasty professor who's just a dick who likes to show off, and he says, now, who was it that encouraged asexual reproduction? And Matthew Broderick is asked the question. He goes, your wife? I thought that.
Hello?
Hello.
Hello.
I kind of feel like Dirk today. It's a story about history. In 1963,
that's the year I was.
San Francisco slugger Willie Mays, Orlando Cepeda, Felix Alou go back to back to back in the third inning to beat the Cardinals 7-2.
Okay.
I hope you appreciate it.
It's a new type of. It's a new way to kind of get at Dirk. It's not fake Dirk. It's what do we call that? That is annoy Dirk.
Yeah, annoy Dirk.
Felipe Alou.
Yeah, Felipe, Mati, and
Orlando Cepeda.
Hello.
This is a Hawkeye podcast.
The greatest podcast ever.
Do you realize you asked me about the depth chart and what's happened since you asked me about the depth chart?
Here, I tried to bring it back to Hawkeyes, and this happens.
I don't think there'll be any major. I mean, I think we had the one major thing was Ivory Kelly Martin moving, and that. To me, that's pretty telling. Everyone's like, well, once you get on top of the depth chart with Kirk, you stay there. That's not true.
No,
I mean,
sure isn't.
That's not true. I mean, Phil Parker took 3 cornerbacks out of 1 game last year.
Hello.
Hello.
Hi, Fake Dog.
You know where else they have a depth chart?
Okay, dog. Jesus.
All right.
Okay, the other surprise may be at linebacker. We were not sure.
Yeah, I think Amani Jones is definitely middle.
For sure.
I think Nick Neiman's one. It's going to come down to
Christian Welch
and
Shimon Colbert
and Barrington Wade. But those two,
Hello.
I'm guessing it'll be Christian Welch, but I'm just guessing.
Husker fan here. You know, I'm kind of a new listener, but I've kind of finally figured out what that dog character's all about with his calls, you know, and, you know, I don't bat for the other team, but I just got to say, Scott Frost.
It is an absolute freaking love fest.
It really is.
It is.
Try again, though, Tom.
Ridiculous.
Try to get the conversation. Now I think people are just calling just to avoid, to prevent us from talking about the Hawks. We're the only podcast where the callers call in to distract you from the Hawks. Most of them call in to ask questions about the Hawks. Ours call in to distract.
Well, here,
but we wouldn't be here without them.
Listen to the other stations, and
It's
they'll
serious
get on and they'll
breakdown.
say, and they'll get on. Well, even like WMT will get on and I had a recipe and I lost it, and people call in and try to help the old lady, and or I'm having some problems, and people, these people just want to beat the hell out of each other on the phone.
This is like Kakert's message board verbalized.
Yeah.
They should make you should spend a day on Kakert's board moderating, and Kakert should spend a day sitting in there. Could you imagine that?
That'd be fun.
That would be kind of interesting.
It's a freak show.
So, but no, as far as the depth chart, I'm guessing it's going to be Ojemudia and Hankins at cornerback.
Yes.
Amani Hooker and Jake Gervais at safety.
Yes.
I don't expect any of that to change unless there's been an injury we're not aware about. Linebackers, and then defensive line will be Parker, Hesse, and Anthony Nelson. And then you're going to have Matt Nelson and who's the other one? Is it Hewlett or not Hewlett?
No.
Is it who was the number? Because Reef's gone.
And Lattimore's gone.
Lattimore's gone. I'm missing somebody right now. I'm just not thinking.
It's God, I'm blanking too.
I'm just running a blank. Sam Brinks has moved inside to help, but that's not.
But I don't think Sam's a starter.
Who's
Is he?
on the depth? But I think Linderbaum's going to factor in.
It might be Brinks.
There's somebody else we're missing though. But then as far as offense, I don't expect any changes at receiver, and I'd be surprised if all of a sudden Mekhi Sargent's ahead of Ivory Kelly Martin. We kind of got an update on the depth chart last week now, and I do expect Josh Turner and Julius Brents to be the two backups at cornerback. I mean, I think they're going to have.
Brents must have really impressed.
Yeah, he's really. I mean, he looked really good that day in practice. I know it's only one practice, but sometimes you can just look out there and be like, "Wow, this guy's really good." And as far as you'll have Fant and Hokinson, it's going to be interesting to see who gets to play the most between Byer, Weeding, and Drew Cook. I mean, because, everyone talks about, they can use 5 tight ends. More times than not, they're not going to use 5 tight ends.
No.
They're going to probably use 3, sometimes 4, and sometimes 5 if they're really good. They do seem to have. But the challenge for, Byer, Weeding, and Cook is to become that third tight end, because then you're going to play a ton.
Yeah.
So, but no, I don't expect anything major. The offensive line, Render at center. What is it? Cole Banwart and Ross Reynolds at guard, and then you're going to have Kallenberger and Levi Paulson at tackles, and possibly Dalton Ferguson. And then next week, Alaric Jackson and Tristan Wirfs move back in to the 2 tackle positions. To me, and I put Render's the key to that. He's got to hold these guys together. He's the 5th-year senior. He's the center, and he's big in so many ways. So there, we got through some serious stuff right there.
I am looking forward to it. That's going to be so much fun.
So tailgating, 2:30. What time do you guys get there? About 11?
No, not that early.
Because we're here till 10. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll get there around 12:30. By the way, NBC News is reporting they finally got together. Senator Schumer and Mitch McConnell request the Department of Defense provide necessary support so that U.S. flags on all government buildings remain at half-mast through sunset of the day of Senator McCain.
So that means they're going to move the White House one back to, is it half-mast or half-staff?
Half-staff, right.
Yeah. Some people say half-mast, don't
Yeah.
Isn't that the way
Half-mast.
M-A-S-T.
Yeah.
Yeah, not mask.
Yeah, this is just...
It seems a little
Good
petty.
point, Mr. Hunter.
It seems very petty
and
vindictive.
very extremely disrespectful.
But I'll tell you, John Sununu did not want to talk about it. He was, I didn't know, he can be kind of rude. But he just, it is, I just get tired. There's got to be, hopefully John McCain's death is one thing where we can just put aside political differences and unite, because he was a guy, he went back.
Everybody has, except
we're never going to get
the
anything accomplished if we do everything
in the,
divided.
White House.
He was the one guy that was always willing to look at the Democrat side and be like, hey, guys, we can't do this alone. And that was his big problem with health insurance. There was no solution for getting rid of Obamacare. They didn't have an answer for it. And
Well,
that's what.
like I said, I'm not a Republican, and a lot of things he did, I didn't care for, but when he died, I cried because you could see.
He's a great man.
He's a great man.
I'm not a Republican. I'm not a Democrat, but I am an American, and
He's a great American.
He's a great American.
Without question.
And what I liked about
and
him,
I didn't agree with his politics.
So many interviews they played of him admitting mistakes, flaws.
Yeah.
He was so humble. He did have a temper, though. They said if you were John McCain's friend, the way to judge how close you were with him was how many times he was mean to you.
Yeah.
And screaming.
Yeah.
But then next 2 hours later, he forgets about it and you just move on. But he was a quick fuse.
Do you ever worry that these podcasts of yours are going to become your legacy?
I had not given. Go ahead, caller. I'm sorry you had to even sit through that. What do you got?
When it comes to the gym class, is it half staffed or half staffed?
I thought we were going to have maybe a question about the depth at wide receiver, but
these are your legacy.
No, I had not thought about my legacy being tied to the podcast, but I guess.
I guess there are worse.
Did you think that was going to be an Iowa question, or did you think?
No, I knew it was going to be because I heard him laugh and I knew who it was. So.
And look who's just happier than a jaybird sitting on a branch. Could you be any happier than you are right now, Captain?
Sure. But I'd be retired.
Sitting.
Hello.
Well, why don't you ever have Golden Corral on the auction?
Okay, explain what do we got going on?
Ackerman.
Oh, okay. I don't know where to go. I just
So we just give up?
Well, we've talked about this for the last
and
9 months.
We still have 3 more shows. Just 2. Friday, because Friday's the auction.
So just 2 more.
Well, I'm going to call in Friday, though, and force you guys for like 10 minutes during the auction to talk about Iowa's depth chart.
Hello.
Let's look at the depth chart at KGYN. Blank sheet of paper.
Oh, guys.
This thing is spiraling.
Pat has to work with these people.
These things are this thing is spiraling out of control.
Say a word
he
today.
hasn't. Has he made one 1,600 rounds?
No,
not at all.
See, now you know you've arrived. When
Why would he?
You don't even have to. You have others speaking, pushing your narrative, pushing your nasty agenda. Okay, I can't remember. What was your prediction for a score? Mine's 23-17.
I'm not sure that I have. I haven't thought about it. I'm going to say 31-20.
Okay, I got 23-17, so we're similar.
24-10.
Ooh, do you like that defense? Oh, and hey, Steve Rowe reached out to me yesterday. Wednesday, we're either going to have Charlie Miller or Matt Henderson on to talk about update ticket sales. And I said, sure.
Okay.
Well, we're always more than willing to.
I like Matt. I don't know Charlie, but
and it'll be one or the other. But I said, sure, whatever they want to. I told them the sooner we could have had him on today, but I think it was too short a notice. But I mean, obviously now we can't have him on Friday. But I said the sooner the better anyway. So yeah, it looks like Wednesday we'll have them on to talk about tickets. Last I heard, there's still some tickets. What was it, 5,000 when they announced it at their last press conference?
But I also heard that it was mostly singles that were left.
Yeah, that's what I assume. Yeah. That's what I assume it would be. And we've got our press conference with Kirk and the players tomorrow, and we have a tour of the North End Zone. I believe it's at 12:30 tomorrow. So yeah, there'll be a lot of stuff going on tomorrow. And
are they going to have the beer taps open?
Yeah, I think there's a couple kegs there, and there's also a room where you can listen to my music and do heroin. Right, Captain? Is that how it works?
Hello.
Yeah, what about the freshman linebacker, Jaden McDonald, and his ankle? Is he done for the year, going to redshirt, or
he's going to redshirt?
Yeah.
Yep, he's going.
231 King Street in Pearson for a punt.
Yeah, I'm sure he's going to redshirt, or reasonably sure.
Surgery went well, according to his mother. We can ask Kirk about it tomorrow, but his mother tweeted something. But yeah. I would be surprised if he. I'd be shocked if he didn't redshirt.
Because the first couple practices, man, he was in. And that don't mean anything, but he was in a lot of pictures, and they said, he was showing up, and then that's that kid from Sioux Falls, Benson.
He's going to play.
I just wonder.
I think Benson's going to play. And when I say play, I'm not talking about the four rule.
Dylan Doyle?
I think there's a chance. I think definitely Benson, definitely Brents. I think Dylan Doyle's going to play. I think Linderbaum's going to play. Those four for sure. Seth Benson is. I think he's definitely going to play. I mean, wouldn't that be typical Iowa? One of the last recruits, they take him away from South Dakota State, and then boom, he comes here and he looked good in the one practice. But I think those guys will definitely play as true freshmen. It doesn't look like right now any receivers are going to play.
Yeah, there was two guys that everybody. I mean, it seems like this happens all the time, but two guys that everybody hypes up, from paper clippings and everything else, was the Tracy kid and the kid from St. Louis, the Dallas kid.
Dallas Craddock. I don't.
And then they said they're like on third teams.
I'm not knocking anybody. I don't take any consideration into that stuff. A lot of it, people are writing to get hits and the clicks, and the more you make somebody sound incredible like he's going to play, the more people are going to like it and whatever. It's just the nature of the business.
And frankly, nobody knows.
Nobody knows, and that would be like me saying someone's going to play. We in the media don't know as much sometimes as we think we do about who's going to. I'm sure Kirk looks at some of that stuff and just.
Where do they come up with this?
Where do they come up with some of this stuff? Yeah. I mean, you don't know until you see these guys in pads. But I think we saw enough of Julius Brents on that one day of practice to know that he belongs. And then Kirk confirmed it by saying he's the backup cornerback, along with Josh Turner.
All right, guys. Thanks.
All right, have a good day.
Call.
Wow, we killed another 90 minutes.
That we'll never get back.
No, we'll never get those 90 minutes back.
No.
Ever.
Tell you what, though, it's a lot. We have fun with our callers, but imagine how long this show would be without callers.
See, I'm looking forward to the tailgate Ann's going to make her those roll-ups.
Yeah.
Those cream cheese roll-ups.
Yeah, I love those.
Aren't those delicious?
I know. Yeah. Do they also have, like, lunch, some type of meat in them and pickles?
Yeah, they got pickles.
Yeah, they got
cream cheese.
Some type of
and they
lunch
got a
meat.
Little,
like salami
wrap around it.
Ham or something.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Those are good.
Yeah, they're damn good.
As long as there's not too much cream cheese on it. Too much cream cheese is never a good thing.
And then there's the fried chicken. I always have a piece of fried chicken that somebody brings.
Yeah. And then what, do you drink, beer or scotch or both?
Beer.
Just beer. Yeah. And then scotch at night.
Scotch at night, When I get home with the 7:30 game, I'll probably start having some scotch around 8:30.
Just remember, scotch at night, Suter's delight.
There you. Ooh, I like that. I like that. Now, win or lose, does that impact the amount of scotch you drink? Do you drink more in a loss or more in a victory?
Usually, after a loss, I don't like to drink.
Oh,
at all. I don't like to tailgate afterwards. I just not interested.
Okay. I respect that. He's not going to drown his sorrows, Captain.
No.
He doesn't need alcohol to get through his frustrations.
And after a win,
there you go.
Katie bar the door, baby.
Pass me another one. Pass me another one. Is that what it is? Do you have another caller?
No.
They hung up. We've had like 8 calls hang up today.
It's these little flash jokes that people have. They have a very short window.
Yeah.
And if we move on after them, they're jokes.
And we do tend to ramble some. But
yes.
Appreciate the people who did call. Like I said, we'll have somebody from Iowa on Wednesday, and then Don Patterson starts. And we're going to have him on. We had him on last year at 9, right? Not 9. We'd always have him on at 9.
Yeah, we always start off the show with him.
We'll start off the show and go for half an hour with Don. Thanks, everybody. Have a good day.
All right, allhawkeyes.com. Get your subscription this day.
We are going to take a break on YouTube. We'll be back with the police report.